Hello, I am Catherine. As you know, I make videos in English, German and Greek. You find them in my website, but also in my channel Makt Jesu. And people who know my videos, they know I speak a lot about end time. You heard about this peace plan for Gaza, etc. I don't believe in this peace between Hamas and Israel. You know, there is a word in Islam, hudna. When this peace plan came through, the people in Gaza, they were dancing and laughing, and what they said in Arabic. Perhaps I will put the video downstairs in the information or comment. They said, Jews, remember what Muhammad did with you. We are coming back. What they mean? Muhammad, when he was not accepted from the Jews and the Christians in the Middle East, because the first Christian countries were in the Middle East and the today Islamic world. They were colonialized and Islamized by the sword. So Muhammad made a peace contract with the Jews and the Christians. But he broke this contract when he had an army. And this is what Islam is doing, hudna. When we are weak, we make peace with our enemy. We buy new weapons, we buy new soldiers, and then we break the peace contract. And this is again the same thing. They know that, but the stupid Western world doesn't know that because they don't want to know that. We are so indoctrinated, our children, our grandchildren, our young people in the schools, in the universities, they are so indoctrinated, so manipulated. For some years now, Greta brought history about the climate. We must save the world, we must save the climate. But now is with the terrorist. Beside her is a Brazilian activist, Tiago Avila. Who is this man? Why the mass media don't speak about this man who is like a shadow of Greta? He's always beside her, near her, behind her, perhaps to tell her what to say. And when he speaks, he laughs a lot, too much. And he speaks so sweet, oh, like honey. Who is he? Is he a Brazilian, really, who converted to Islam because he's an Islamist? Or he is an Arabic man a migrant in Brasilia who got married and have a Brazilian name, but he is an Islamist. When he is with his Islamic brothers, he is loud, Islam will win, and he was by the ceremony, by the burial of the chief of Hezbollah in Lebanon. Can you imagine that this man, beside Greta Thunberg, Tiago Avila, was in the front in the burial ceremony of Nasrallah in Lebanon. Unbelievable. So something is hidden. They are only tools of secret societies and tools of Islam, and we will see some things. Last time, today, before 1 hour ago or so, I had a question in my mind. When you criticize Islam in the West or everywhere, somebody, I don't know who began with this word, our governments or Islamic people, when you criticize Islam, they say Islamophobe, Islamophobia. Really? When you speak against mass migration, they tell us that our leftists and Islamists, they tell us, oh, you are racist and you are far right. Really? So I have a question. We are in the West, and the roots of the West is Christianity. Before it was paganism, like in Africa, in Asia, in South America, and so on. And then the gospel came. The roots, so for 2,000 years, is Christianity. So when somebody criticizes Christianity in the West, I don't speak about others, how do you call that? You don't know? Why you don't know? We are in the West. We are in atheistic, ex-Christian countries. So it's everything allowed. So you can blaspheme Christianity, you can criticize Christianity, you can do what you want in cinema, in theater, in comedy about Christianity and Jesus Christ. But you don't know how you could call it. Shame on you. Christianity gave you food. The Christians made the difference in the world. They built schools, they brought you food, they did a lot of good things, and they are accepted you as migrants, millions of you, not the Islamic countries. They don't accept any Muslim. They like to take people from other countries, like Filipinos, like Indians, who work hard and don't complain. So today we will look some things. Last time I didn't make the video in English. I tried about secret societies because something happened with the smartphone, so I make it only made in German. So I will explain some things. I go back a little. I spoke about secret societies. 1,000 years ago, about 1,000 years ago, if pilgrims from Europe tried to go to Jerusalem, because Jerusalem is holy for the Christians and the Jews, for nobody else. Jerusalem is not once in Quran. The name Palestine is not once in Quran, but 43 times in Quran is written Israel. And even is written that your God gave Israel to the Jews. But not once Jerusalem. It is holy for the Jews and the Christians, and it is the capital of Israel for thousands of years. So there were the kings, the pilgrims who went to Jerusalem. On the way to Jerusalem, they were killed by the Muslims, who colonialized the whole Middle East, Southeast Europe. People don't know history. And we know they colonialized Spain, Portugal for 700 years. They colonialized North Africa. This is why North Africa is not Africa, but Arabic. And so the Catholic Church and the kings of Europe decided to send a military. And of course, in the beginning, it was not really military. It was farmers with almost no weapon, and. It's a long story. But the Crusaders, as we know, the Knights of Templars, they became the Templars. They were from kings' families, good families. They were really the soldiers. But these people, they were not Christians. Of course, they walked with a cross in their hands, but they were Gnostics, they were mystics, and they went to Jerusalem only because their interest was to find the treasures of the temple and to find old books about the old world, Babylon, and even older, before the flood. In the time when the fallen angels came to the earth on the mountain Hermon in the Middle East and mixed with women, the woman gave birth to children, the Nephilims, and. And then this world, before the flood, was governed, reigned by the Nephilims, the giants, the Titans, Hercules, and all these people, Goliaths, and so on. So these secret societies want to bring the world back to this time, to the time of the fallen angels. So these crusaders, with a cross in the hand, went to Jerusalem, but they had another agenda. But many people don't know history. Many people have no idea what happened. And I explain that these knights Templars, they fought in the beginning the Islamic armies, but finally they killed more Jews than Muslims, thousands of Jewish people, and finally they became friends with the mystics in Islam, with the Sufis. They became very influenced by the Sufis and by another group, I don't know if the same finally, the Assassins. So they came back as not Christians, as not even Catholics. They, how do you say this word? Spoke? No, they spoke? No, I don't know how, when you make like this, so they have no faith in Jesus Christ. They hated the cross, but they were with the cross, and they came back as non-Christians, non-Catholics, not even Catholics. It's a big difference between Christians and Catholics. We don't pray to idols. We don't pray to Mary and the saints. They are people. Jesus is for us God. And this is why the Catholic Church began. There was a time of persecution of the Knights of Malta, Knights Templars, they have different names, the Crusaders, and so on. So when they were persecuted by the Catholic Church, they went to Scotland, where there is why we have the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. They went to Switzerland, and they created the whole thing of banks. The banks are not by the Jews. The banks came with the Crusaders. They became the Freemasons, because when they came back from Jerusalem, they were very rich with the treasures of the temple. This is why we say Templars. And of course, the kings of Europe gave them a lot of money. So they began the banking in Switzerland, in the West, in the whole world. After a time, the Pope, the Catholic Church, and the Crusaders became again friends. And then there came the time when the Jesuits came. The Jesuits is nothing else than the Crusaders or Templars. There are a lot of names: Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Jesuits, and. It's all about the same, a lot of different secret societies. But they mixed with Islam, and they learned their structure from the assassins of Islam. So I want to read to you something that I have from a book. Perhaps I will write the name and the name of the book and the author, Gary Wayne. He wrote a very big book, Genesis 6 Conspiracy, where he explained all these things. Craft legends recorded the Templars from their beginning ventured into ongoing communications with other secret societies from the Middle East, from which they adopted many of their doctrines. Of these secret societies, the Druids, the Gnostic Essenes, and the Islamic Gnostic Assassins held the closest ties to the Freemasons, all organizations that held inexplicable ties to the Templars. In fact, as early as year 1129, de Payen, first Grand Master of the Knights Templar, led 300 knights allied with the assassins of Persia, they came from Shia, on a siege of the city of Damascus. They even worked together. First they fought each other, then they worked together for the siege of the city of Damascus. David Hatcher wrote that the assassins had formal ties to the Templars and almost joined the order. Can you imagine? They joined the order. They wanted to join the order, and they joined. I will show you. Oh, I lost a little moment. But the Templars did not meet their objectives, whatever these objectives were. They couldn't find, Furthermore, many of the later Knights Templar were in truth Palestinian, they mean Arabs by birth. Don't forget, the Palestinians were the Israelis because the Caesar of Rome changed the name Israel to Palestine. So everybody who lived there was Palestinian. So the true Palestinians are the Jewish people, but he means Arabic people. The Arabs by birth totally fluent in Arabic and thoroughly familiar with the assassins. Assassin derived from the Arab word assas, meaning guardians or guardian brothers. Almost all mystical groups ostensibly have an ancient name signifying either a watcher or a guardian of ancient knowledge. Assassins paid a tribute to the Templars through the 12th century, although the reasons for this are unknown today. In year 1198, Bernard the Treasurer recorded the leader of the assassins, we speak about mystic Muslims, inexplicably treated the Templars as if they were royalty, but again without explanation. Assassins served the Templars loyalty as translators, interpreters, spies, ambassadors, and contract killers. Keep the word contract killers. Assassins were additionally remembered as great builders, adopting their organizational structure from the Pythagoreans, the philosophers of Greece, who were Gnostics, and the Egyptians. All this has to do with secret knowledge. It goes back to Egypt, Babylon. It goes back to the time before the flood, to Cain, Tubal-Cain, Enoch the evil, and the fallen angels. Secret knowledge. This is Gnostic. Assassins wore white robes and practiced a form of solar worship, just as the Essenes, the Great White Brotherhood, and the Templars did. The Assassins were part of a mystical Muslim sect, the Ismailites, whose founding leader was the famous Aga Khan, descendant of Muhammad. These people are here. They are not anymore only in the Middle East. They are in the Holy World, also as contract killers. Modern day followers of this sect reside in Pakistan, India, and East Africa. Ismailites are made up of three sects: Karmites, Ismailis, and Assassins. The Karmites focused on a reform which eventually shook the Muslim world, including Syria, Egypt, Persia, and India, leading to the Fatimid dynasty. Previous to this, the Muslim prophet Muhammad's daughter Fatima married Muhammad's brother-in-law Ali. She married her uncle, which later established the Fatimid dynasty, which dreamed of creating peaceful universalism in the world, exactly the same like all the secret societies want: one world government. Yeah, under the doctrines of Amenhotep of the Amarna dynasty, who was known variantly as the infamous Pharaoh Akhenaten. The Fatimid dynasty also intentionally established a house of wisdom that produced the initiate Hassan first, or what, Sabah, who founded Hashishim, the assassins. So the assassins come out from the family of Muhammad. Something is wrong here. Karmaids thereafter, another organization, organized themselves into professional guilds, all containing hierarchical degrees and apprenticeship. Karmaids also introduced Hellenic, Neoplatonic, Hermetic, and Savian dogma into Islam through esoteric initiations. The Templars appear to have adopted almost all of their, we speak about Freemasonry, who goes back to Crusaders, but they are the Templars, Freemasonry, Illuminati, etc., etc., mixed with Islam, mystic Islam. The Templars appear to have adopted almost all of their organizational structure from the mystical assassins, Karmaids, and Ismailis. The Templars and the Benedictines also adopted much of the Arabic mysteries and ancient knowledge. Arabs and mystical Muslims over centuries have developed alchemy into a synthesis of Egyptian, Chaldean, Jewish, and Hellenic practices before teaching this knowledge to the Europeans. So they brought to Europe a lot of Gnosticism, of secret knowledge, who goes back to Garden of Eden, to the serpent. According to Nodon, I don't know who he is, all this cryptic and ancient knowledge was then distributed throughout Europe via the Benedictine and Templar orders. Many monasteries, many monks are not Christians. They are Gnostics. Very anti-Christian, very anti-Semitic. No question why now we have so much anti-Semitism in the West again. It is from the Essenes McKay believes the Templars adopted their heretical religion. The Templars were not the Catholic Christian order they portrayed themselves to be. They were in truth a secret order of Gnostics who based their religion on mysticism in the tradition of the mystic assassins and Essenes. Templars placed some of the Essenes were Christians, but others were the total different. Templars placed their beliefs in what they viewed was the true church that taught mysticism and reincarnation, the church that was suppressed and persecuted by the Roman Catholic Church, the religion known as Gnosticism. So the Templars and the Gnostics believe the Catholic Church and the Catholic Church changed the church dogma. They believe the old church believed in mysticism and in reincarnation. It is not true. There is no reincarnation. It's a lie of the devil. So, from the mystic assassins, the Templars modeled their own organization, even to the extent that the Islamic assassins were a secret society outwardly practicing Islam, but inwardly practicing mysticism and renouncing Islam. Templars also outwardly practiced Christianity, but inwardly denounced it, preferring to worship the global pantheon under the religion of the Gnostics. So we have a lot of people inside the Catholic Church, or even evangelical church. They give themselves as Christians, and they are absolute anti-Christian, anti-Semitic. From the mystic assassins, the Templars modeled their own organization. According to Jeffrey Higgins, the assassins and the Templars were identical. They became identical. When the Templars came back from Jerusalem, a lot of Arabic people were with them. They were with the Crusaders. You must imagine. The assassins' organization then was the clandestine mystical organization brought back to Europe, which flourished under its new Christian disguise and in the protection of the Roman Church. These founding seeds eventually led to the Templars' downfall as heretics. So from now on, for the Catholic Church, they were not heretics. The time came when they accepted the Templars, with all the Arabic mysticism, were granted the status of a sovereign order, and were adopted as the holy warriors of the Catholic Church, whence they received enormous gifts from the great lords of Europe. Did you understand? So, not wonder people like Greta Thunberg and other students in America, in Europe, in the West, go out to demonstrate against everything we stand, and are absolute anti-Christian, anti-Semitic, pro-Islamic, protect Islam, Islamophobia. What about Christianity? Somebody, an activist, everybody wants today to be an activist. But from where do you receive your money? They were on a very expensive ship, small ship. They didn't have aid for the people in Gaza. No. They danced, they sang, who knows what they did more. Paid from where? Qatar? Turkey? Others? The assassins of the Middle East? The Ismailites? Or the secret societies of the West who control our governments, and especially the American government? Yeah, an activist in Switzerland, she said Gaza made her to an activist. I ask you, why Sudan, the civil war in Sudan, didn't make you to an activist? Why the war between Saudi Arabia and Iran in Yemen, where millions died, why it didn't make you an activist? Or the civil war in Syria. Every day, thousands of Christians in Nigeria are killed by the Muslims, the assassins of Islam. Why it didn't make you to an activist? Christians in Syria, genocide in Nigeria of Christians, genocide in Syria of Christians, Alevites, and Druze. Why it didn't make you an activist? Because, Katerina, Israel is not there. And we hate Israel. I know. You hate the Jews and the Christians. And now we have the Nazis of the Middle East in Germany and everywhere. And what they call the Germans, the Nazis of the Middle East call the Germans Nazis. And the Germans are so foolish, they don't give answer. They don't tell the Muslims, you are the first Nazis. For 3,500 years now, the Arabs tried to kill the Jews and to take the land. For 1,400 years now, the Muslims tried to kill the Jews and to take the land. Oh, we were friends together, really, because they didn't have their state. When they created again their state, then began the war. You say we are the racist. How many Jewish people live in the Arabic world today? And what is happening with the Christians in the Arabic world? So you see what happened with our young people because we don't teach them the truth. I read a word that Paul said to Timothy, 2 Timothy 3. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, for people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unpeaceable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. Avoid such people. This became with our people, and especially with our youth in schools and universities. They became absolute no moral. You feel like a woman? Cut your sexual organ. But it happened only in the West. The others, the true men, the assassins, they are coming. They are already here. So the only hope for you is Jesus Christ. He loves you. He wants that you come back to him, to know where you go after death, because very soon millions and billions of people will be killed, will die in wars, catastrophes, pandemics, and. Prepare your heart, come back to Jesus. Goodbye.